insurance program administered through Western Financial Group provides coverage for abuse claims under the $50 million limit of commercial general liability coverage for bodily injury or property damage. And whereas Western Financial Group's insuring partners require municipalities to implement an abuse policy to better protect municipalities against the increasing frequency and severity of liability losses due to reported instances of abuse, and to ensure coverage in the event of an abuse claim, be it resolved that Council accepts as information Abuse Policy 3.2 and a memo dated March 17th from the Deputy City Manager advising that the policy provides those working with children, youth, and vulnerable populations with guidelines for reporting incidents of abuse and recommending that the policy be approved. Further be resolved that Council agrees with the Deputy City Manager's recommendation and approves Abuse Policy 3.2. Questions or comments regarding that, or anything from you, Lisa, about the policy itself?
No, I think it's fairly self-explanatory. So we will be administering this policy with all of our insureds on our insurance policy. So that would include Dauphin Rec Services, Watson Art Center, the library, and any additional insureds that are on our policy. And we will make sure that they are aware of it and sign off on it. And they are responsible for ensuring that all of their employees and volunteers are also signing off on this policy.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? None? No. Carried. Thank you. Moved by Councillor Daly and seconded by Councillor Sobring, whereas the City of Dauphin employs surveillance in select public locations to monitor assets, to deter crime, and to promote public safety, be it resolved that Council accepts as information Surveillance of Public Places Policy 16.1 and a memorandum dated March 27th from the Information Communications and Technology Manager advising that the policy defines the reasoning for and access to surveillance data and recommending that the policy be approved. Further be resolved that Council agrees with the ICT Manager's recommendation and approves Surveillance of Public Places Policy 16.1. Questions or comments from anyone? Councillor Sobring.
I just wanted to point out, I guess with the skate park or Dauphin Skate Park, that's currently the only site I believe the city surveils, but this would, and the recycling depot. So this policy will just go to any existing and future surveillance then. So if we want to expand it, this would be adequate for all the purposes. Okay, yeah, thanks.
Any other comments or questions from anyone? Seeing none, call for the question then. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? Seeing none, call that carried. Thank you. Motion by Deputy Mayor Laughlin, seconded by Councillor Ray. Be it resolved that bylaw 03//2023, being a bylaw of the City of Dauphin, amending bylaw 02/2009 for the regulation and control of traffic and parking, be now read first time. Comments or questions? Elisa, please.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to comment, just to point out that this traffic bylaw amendment is in response to a number of concerns that we received from Henderson School parents and the principal regarding safety around Henderson School. And so this amendment applies a no stopping zone along the north side of Edward Avenue and the south side of Earl Avenue. So on the interior streets that are closest to the school. There was a problem with the snow accumulates along those streets. Students would climb on top of the piles, and when parents would pull up to pick up their children, sometimes there was a safety risk if they were to fall off of the snow. So there'll be no stopping along those sides of those avenues, and we're hoping that this will promote safety for pickups and students leaving and coming to the school.
Thank you for that clarification and that added information. Any other comments or questions? All those in favor? Opposed? None. Motion is carried. First reading complete. Thank you. Moved by Councillor Sobering, seconded by Councillor Daly. Be it resolved that Council accepts as information the following invitation from the Manitoba Chamber of Commerce. Their rescheduled economic development tour, which is now going to be held on April 19th, 2023. Further be resolved that council, or that all expenses related to council and senior administration attending this event be borne by the City of Dauphin. Any questions or comments regarding this item? Seeing none, call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? None. Moved by Councillor Sobering, seconded by Councillor Ray. Be it resolved that council accepts as information that councillors' reports for the regular council meeting of March the 13th. Councillor Sticalo, since you're on the screen, how about we start with you, if you're prepared? Thank you, Councillor Sticalo. Councillor Sobering, since you're jet lagged, we'll move to you.
Yeah, I was just came back from a 8-day vacation, but not a lot of meetings since the last one, except for an update on economic development. There's been some progress with the Makerspace Subcommittee. That's a kind of an exciting project that I'm looking forward to report more on in the future. And other than that, that ends my report. Very short and sweet.
Thank you, Councillor Sobering. Deputy Mayor Lachlan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. For myself, the regular council meeting here at City Hall back on March 13th. On the 14th, the next day, attended the chamber lunch during the day and then the chamber awards that evening. Just a quick congratulations to all the winners there. Do want to make a quick mention too of the Kin Club Business Expo. The chamber's pretty big into that. April 22nd, 23rd at the Parkland Rec Complex. There's just over 10 spots left, which is like very, very good. Normally they don't quite sell out, and they're on the verge of doing that almost a month away. So book your spot soon. You can go to dauphinkin.ca to get in there. On March 20th, planning and priorities meeting here at City Hall. On the 23rd, Thursday last week, attended the Communities in Bloom meeting here at City Hall as well. And then on the 25th, I was at the Kings playoff game at Credit Union Place. Really good crowd on hand for that one. Too bad the Kings couldn't come through. They're down 2-0 in the series. They play Game 4 here in Dauphin on Friday night at Credit Union Place. So get out and support. Other than that, that ends my report.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Lachlan. We'll go to the other end. How about Councillor Daly, just to get you out of your stupor?
All right.
You were thinking it was Councillor Bellemare, weren't you?
No.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah, I attended the March 13th council meeting, and then with Deputy City Manager Lisa Gaudette, we traveled to Winnipeg on the 15th and 16th of March to attend a meeting of 21 municipalities who pay for contract policing with the RCMP, the Justice Department, and Safety Canada Committee. represented there, as well as the new assistant commissioner in charge of D division. I think I won't make a lot of public comments on that. It was interesting and disappointing. I mean, I got to say it. It was just interesting. It was interesting to hear the comments from 20 other municipalities that we all share a lot of the same grievances and issues with respect to services. And it was disappointing that we didn't really get any answers or solutions or anything. I just, anyway, so we have work to do on that front, and I'm sure we'll get to it. And then on the 20th, I attended the Priorities and Planning meeting, and on the 23rd, attended with the Protective Services folks, Councillor Bellemare and myself, and the mayor, and deputy city manager and city manager with the RCMP. Back in my day, the upstairs people and the downstairs people. But the superintendent in charge, inspector, staff sergeant from West Division, and Staff Sergeant Campbell and Sergeant Perkins. It's Perkins. Linklater. Where did I get Perkins from? Sam Perkins from Gunsmoke. Anyway, again, it was an interesting, another interesting meeting. I'll just leave it at that. And that's it for my report. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Daly. Councillor Ray.
Thank you, Mayor Boziak. March 13th, I attended our last regular council meeting. On the 14th, I also attended the Parkland Chamber of Commerce's awards night. And I would also like to congratulate all the award recipients and the nominees as well. March 15th, I attended the DART committee meeting at the Friendship Center. And I just wanted to mention that since the hot lunch program started up last November, they've distributed over 64,000 hot lunches to those in need in our community. So congratulations to all the people at the Friendship Center for a job well done. March 20th, I attended our planning and priorities meeting here at City Hall. I have a rec committee meeting coming up this week, but other than that, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Councillor Ray. Councillor Bellemare.
Thank you. I attended some meetings, planning and priorities, Riverside Cemetery. We have another one this week as well. Protective Services meeting that Councillor Daly mentioned. An important note, we had a Mamawee meeting this week, and we just found out we got more money from Trails Manitoba, $75,000. So that's going to get us started on phase 2. We're pretty excited. And our dance group performed at the opening banquet of the provincial curling championships that were just held here. And I noticed several of those people walking around town and going into our stores. So, I mean, there's certainly a benefit in all kinds of ways to our community. So thank you to the organizers for taking on this project. I attended a Community in Bloom meeting, and the flower colors for this year's Main Street planters are yellow, red, purple with white accents. On the Friday, I attended the fish fry that was put on by the Ukrainian Orthodox Church, and that's in support of that family fund initiative that has been going on for quite a while. Mentioned that they have had $350,000 donated to the fund so far, and that evening they had a 50-50 draw, and the person who won donated his $420 prize back. So they're still collecting money. So if that's something you want to do, certainly make a trip down to Fusion Credit Union. You can make a donation there. And lastly, in our package tonight, there was an expense for the SCADA software, and that's with regards to our water treatment plant. And I just want to point out that we certainly benefit because we have a lot of well-trained people who work at our water treatment plant, and our water is regularly tested by the province of Manitoba to ensure that it meets all health standards. And that SCADA program is quite sophisticated, and it will make sure that it's even more accurate reporting. I'm not a bottled water fan, as you can probably tell. I'm quite proud of our city water, and providing safe drinking water is hugely important. It's a big service that we operate, and our staff takes this responsibility very seriously. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bellemare. Just to belabor the evening and let our esteemed editor have a little bit more to report on, I'll mention I had a few things going on in the last couple of weeks. So, as indicated from some of the other councillors, I attended several of the other meetings that were going on. I just wanted to list a couple of the highlights of some of the things. As Councillor Bellemare was indicating, the senior curling championships that are just wrapped up today in Dauphin, the banquet, I attended the banquet and brought greetings on behalf of the city to the group. And it surprised me when I walked in, the place was full and I only knew about 7 people, which is, I was figuring there'd be a ton of local people there. And there were the 2 local curling teams, 2 or 3 of the volunteers from the organizing committee, and 22 teams from outside of Dauphin that had already spent an evening in town because they had practice all day Wednesday. So they came in on Tuesday, and the majority of them practiced all day Wednesday and then the banquet. And so it was the actual first event that our accommodation tax has gone into funding with the event fund through economic development. And so, and Greg Thompson, the organizer of the event, did indicate the benefit of having that small incentive grant from the city to help them plan their event, which allowed them to not need to worry about selling tickets. It was a free event during the week for people to attend and to watch. So I think it was very well attended. And from the sounds of things, we had 22 out-of-town teams have a great couple of days in Dauphin. There was also another meeting, a follow-up meeting regarding the planning for the daycare in our community, and discussions about location and contributions from the province, discussions regarding, we met with Johnny Q Corporation, the not-for-profit agency that has been formed by municipalities surrounding from the capital region that are looking at doing the project management for other municipalities that are in on this. And so just to report that so far so good. It just seems like a project that's honestly too good to be true. And from all intent and purpose, and from the research that we've done and speaking to other people involved in the first and second phase of this project, it all seems as delivered. So the federal government money, the millions of dollars that will be channeling through the province to daycares in our province, and with the $10 daycare confirmation made by our provincial government 3 years in advance of when they wanted to initiate it, it all bodes really well for us. So we're working really hard on the back end to do what we need to do as a municipality to ensure that we're ready when this gets going. Also attended with our economic development manager, another ACC stakeholder meeting. So we met with Carol Stewart, the new director of ACC College, and a few other local organizations that are either in the education and or employment sector to discuss how do we work with ACC and others to ensure that we address the shortfall or shortcomings in regards to labor in our current marketplace. And it was interesting, there was some anecdotes shared at the meeting about the extreme shortage of workers in our community, in the service industry in particular. And so it's something that we're working hard with other partners to try and address and discuss. With the deputy with the city manager, I attended the regional meeting of other municipal leaders in Gilbert Plains, and we had discussions of concern regarding what's going on in the area, and a couple of discussions regarding the possible channel for Lake Dauphin, and regards to flood mitigation and other interesting discussions. But interesting discussion with some of the other regional local district leaders about the issues that they're facing and how we can continue to work together. I attended a couple of other meetings with a couple of community organizations that all are getting activated to work with to submit applications with the province announcement last week with the acceleration of the final $50 million in their art, culture, and sport grant program. Our provincial government has accelerated when they'll be spending the money. They initially promised to spend $50 million over 3 years. And they just decided that they would spend the last 50 million this year. And so there's a hurry hard. And so I've talked with economic development and with administration here at the city, and we will be assisting with some of the local community organizations in their interest in submitting applications to this fund. There's a April 17th and April 26th deadline, depending upon which degree of grant any community organizations are applying for. So we just reached out to several organizations in the community saying, we will help you with an application if you need that help. So we're working on that just to ensure that our organizations who intend to take action and try and get some provincial funding have the best applications going forward. And then just to wrap up, there was a meeting with Dauphin Rec Services regarding the Riding Mountain National Park Biosphere Project, or a committee, and their Nature Conservancy of Canada. Our involvement in the Biosphere Committee led to a potential grant program through the Nature Conservancy of Canada for a pollinator garden or some type of external support. So again, another advantage for being involved in some of our different committees where this grant came to us. So it doesn't mean we get it, but we're going to be applying. And if that happens, there'll be some assistance either to our Communities in Bloom or DRS or the city directly in regards to a pollinator type of garden. I would just like to, in closing, echo sentiment shared by Councillor Daly in that, and Lisa and Randy did attend that meeting in the city, and we came back with observations on what's going on with RCMP and the province. And then I think it was a wonderful gesture by the RCMP locally that we met with the staff sergeant and then the district commander. But again, the solution to crime isn't just with the RCMP. And what we heard, I think now in 2 different sessions with our CMP, both federally, provincially, in Winnipeg and locally, that increases in crime are not just happening here, they're happening everywhere. That the increases in crime are related to a couple of factors. 2 significant ones that have been identified to us are mental health challenges and addiction-related issues. And Councillor Daly has been a champion locally of us trying to deal with the issue at that level with other agencies and organizations, and we're continuing to work on that. But we did express some acknowledgement of the RCMP's situation, and so we will be taking whatever actions that we can as a municipality to try and assist in whatever way we can, whether it's with the policing efforts of the RCMP and or those other efforts that are required with social service and other agencies in our community to actually do something and not just wring our hands and say, whoa, there's a problem and we can't do anything. We are actively trying to come up with solutions, and I'd like to acknowledge both Lisa and Randy for traveling to Winnipeg to attend that meeting on our behalf, and then Councillor Bellemare and Daly to attend with Charla and Lisa with the RCMP and spend a couple hours and having some really important conversations. So that wraps it up for me. Is there anything? I'll just open the floor to Mike or Lisa. Anything you wanted to add from a staff perspective of anything that's been going on? No? All right then. With that, I'd like to call for the question. All those in favor of accepting the council reports as presented? Anyone opposed? Seeing none. Call that carried. And moved by Councillor Daly, seconded by Councillor Ray. Be resolved that council meeting be